to this first of its kind panel discussion on environmental laws in urban centers, particularly related to mountain states. This panel discussion is being sponsored by Nagaland page to complement the works of the Dimapur Municipal Corporation for a better Dimapur. We are extremely privileged to have with us panelists from across the state. In particular, I would like to mention the four panelists today. Mr. Amba Jamir, who is the Executive Director of Sustainable Development Forum for Nagaland, thank you. And Ms. Gochebeni Patong, Judicial Magistrate, who also has experience of perhaps one of the rare cases in Dimapur which has been related to environmental issues. We will hear more about that from you later. We also have with us Mr. Ganesh Sharma, who is the liaison officer from the Dimapur Municipal Corporation, and also Ms. Kezia Yapkami, a young entrepreneur herself and also associated with a social enterprise, a company based in Bombay that deals with rural products. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. The pattern of this discussion will primarily, we will kick it off with some introductions by all of you on the kind of work that you're doing, but the intent of this 23-minute discussion that we have today is primarily to bring out issues and pointers that hopefully citizens of Nagaland can use to better their lives. May I ask you, Amba, first of all, each of you to kindly introduce yourself to the work that you're doing. So if you could kindly briefly tell us the environmental works that you're associated with.
Hi, my name is Amba Jamir. I am associated with the Sustainable Development Forum Nagaland, which is basically a forum of government organizations, NGOs, the academia, the media, and also from the entrepreneurial sector of business people. So the forum is basically a forum where it's a neutral space for people to come together and talk about a sustainable development pathway for Nagaland. So basically that is what we do.
All right, and Ms. Kezia?
Hi, good afternoon. So I am here because I've been associated with, Better Dimapur as well as some other initiatives regarding the cleanliness in Dimapur. But also I have a background in environment and development. So I just wanted to participate in this discussion and bring about viewpoint from that background.
Right. Okay, so Amba from the Mountain Initiative, the Sustainable Development Forum. So we hope that you can give us more insight into how some things have worked in some mountain states. We know that Sikkim, for instance, have very strong environmental laws, and that they are working towards not just environmental laws in solid waste management or garbage disposal, but even in terms of buildings, which I think is something that we are really lacking here in Nagaland. But for some introduction from you, Mr. Ganesh, about yourself and the work that you do as a liaison officer.
Good afternoon, everybody. Myself, Ganesh Sharma, the liaison officer. I'm the specific body, Dimapur Municipal Council. Is almost 30 years in service. I don't know few years left to be retired. But I've learned many things in this. While it was at that time, it was not a municipality full present. There was no act. It was a town committee. Those days, I joined this office in 1988. So our works is very different. We have multi types of work. Say like district administration, they are dealing in certain areas, they have some bindings, rules and all. But we don't have such rules. We have to deal with various peoples, various mindset peoples, and we are facing a lot of problems in doing all those things. Still then, we are very much optimistic and we are very hopeful that people will support us, and in their support, we could come this much.
So we will hear more about the lack of amenities or infrastructure within the municipal council.
Since
may I ask Ms. Kezia to introduce herself first, and then we'll hopefully hear from you. But I think in 30 years, this is probably the first discussion that that has involved DMC in this kind of a public awareness program.
Hello everyone, my name is Consibeni Paton. I'm working as the Judicial Magistrate First Class Dimapur. So I deal with petty criminal cases. I'm also working as a Civil Judge Junior Division, so I also deal with civil cases. Just a small clarification to the introduction. The Sunrise Colony case is actually pending at the High Court in the form of PIL. So I am in no way involved there.
But we hope you can at least give us some insight into, perhaps we can start this off now, an insight into how the residents got themselves together, because this kind of activism by colony residents is very rare in our state. Would you have any answer as to how they organized themselves to...
I don't think it would be fair on me to comment on how it all started, but I think as far as the judiciary is concerned in Nagaland, we have so far zero litigation with respect to environmental laws, especially in the district level. And it's only now with this litigation that I think people have started to understand, or at least realize that they have a mode of redressal in the form of a PIL with the high courts or with the Supreme Court, etc.
I was wondering whether Amba and Mr. Ganesh, can you just help us with some of the laws that citizens can use to activate, let's say, the Dimapur Municipal Council, which unfortunately seems to be the only body which the citizens are aware of that they can go to help them, assess their issues, whether it's garbage disposal or whether it's drainage systems, whether it's waste by building materials left on the roadside, or it's the markets, access to clean, hygienic public places. If both of you could help me in turn, perhaps starting with you, Mr. Ganesh, what are the laws within the municipal council that people can use, citizens of Dimapur can use?
See, first of all, I would like to tell you that this law, that is our law, that is Nagaland Municipal Act, it was acted on 2001. This act, actually I have gone through some parts in the whole body. There are 485 sections are there in this law. So different sections, different matters will be discussed, and it is basically this Municipal Act is like Punjab municipal pattern they have prepared. So Nagaland, some things are not applicable in that, so according to the some sections. See, since there was no rules from the very beginning, and our city is an unplanned city, there is no planning at all. Wherever people have got the opportunity to construct, they have constructed. There is no such planning. No house numbering would be given properly. Even some new colonies are coming. Say like you will find if you go to the Nagaland, they are doing very, very nicely because they have land, they are systematic. But if you go to Don Bosco or Don Bosco, you will not find in a similar way. This is the one area we are finding. And people's mindset, until and unless our people's mindset is changed, who is government? Government is elected by us only. It with our own selection we have selected, and we have to give the pressure to the elected person in what manner our city can be developed. For development, some drastic action has to be taken by the authority, where we have to be stand by with the authority sometimes.
So, Amba, what would you say? I mean, he's talked about no planning. There's a municipal act which contains acts which are not relevant to the state of Nagaland. How will a sustainable forum, for example, the one that you work with, which are working towards mountain state initiatives, how can it help in formulating and implementing laws that are practical and relevant?
See, to begin with, if you look at Article 21 of the Constitution, it talks of the right to life. Article 47, on the other hand, places the responsibility of the state to provide systems that guarantees people's right to a good health and good environment. So if you look at laws and legal systems, it is there already. How we make use of it and what do we do with it is the larger issue. Now in terms of what the municipality does or does not do, I think it's like which comes first. On the other hand, on one hand you have a plethora of laws, but on the other hand, the citizens themselves are not aware of the laws. Sometimes even the municipalities themselves are not aware of the laws. For example, in terms of what do we do with the waste? Who decides whether this waste is hazardous or not? Should it be the municipality or should the State Pollution Control Board come in? And I think there is a complete lack of coordination amongst agencies. And just saying that we do not have the manpower and we do not have the finances, I think that's it's dereliction of duty of the state if that continues.
So, Ms. Patton, we have laws which are in existence. We frame laws, but they are not being used. And from the judiciary's point of view, especially regarding environmental laws, which you said yourself earlier, that there have been no litigation at all. How can the legal system, the legal luminaries, the judiciary in the state highlight this aspect that, encourage people to fight for their rights?
I think the answer lies in awareness, really, because as already mentioned by our panel member, there is a complete lack of awareness on basic laws as well. Not just environmental laws, but laws in general. Like even today, a lot of people get confused with just my designation. I'll just give you an example. People are still confused as to what a lawyer does or as to what a magistrate does. People don't know what the courts are all about. So the public in general, they have a very low understanding of what the law is. And also in our limited experience while we are conducting awareness campaigns, we have also come across people where, they're looking at the laws very indifferently or with a fear. They don't like to approach the courts. When we talk about courts or when we talk about police, there is that fear psychosis. And I think you can attribute that to maybe the years of conflict that we have faced. So, and also the regressive laws that have been enacted. So because of that, the public generally have a very negative attitude towards the law. There's almost a sense that these laws are not for us, but they are against us, So there is a need to sort of curb that attitude as well.
Ms. Yapkumi, do you have the sense that in small circles, everybody seems to talk about environmental issues, we talk about dirty roads and garbage and drainage and so on and so on. But when you actually get down and when you work in your area, in your sphere of work with people as a social entrepreneur, what are their opinions? Why is it that people want to accept the squalor around them? What is it? What is it that can be done to empower people?
Well, I think that, despite the fact that people are completely oblivious of their constitutional rights, it's not necessary to, approach the government only with laws or with the law. If people want a change within, their state or city or town, they have the power to speak up. And I think that is something that has lacked mostly in Nagaland state. And people are completely absorbed with their own daily lives and troubles. At the end of the day, they just, accept things as they are. But I think for those of us who are more aware of the issues and also aware of our rights, we can educate them, about the basic facilities that they can ask for or that are actually due to them. And in that way, if we can get their support and along with their cooperation and their input, also put forth to their local or state governments what we want and what kind of facilities.
So let's talk about like this. This is, I think, is bringing us up to the end of our discussion. But very quickly, what are the avenues? What are the channels that people have that they can use? There are some certain environmental laws that have come into place, like Article 32 and 226, which which allows the citizen to file a PIL right up to the Supreme Court. Do we know about this? We also have the National Green Tribunal, which exists. So if all of you could individually, from your sphere of work, at least point out one or two ways in which people can use the existing laws and the existing governance system really to assist probably the DMC perhaps, or to assist the judiciary as to activate the rights of individual citizenships. How do we do this to better our environment? Maybe you could suggest some ways in which people can help the DMC, the judiciary for you.
So the laws are there, the courts have been very active in pursuing this matter. Now the challenge lies in whether the citizens are ready to redress their grievance through that mechanism. So for instance, a question of garbage. Maybe a citizen would like to know how he can use the laws to sort of address this issue. So garbage could be a public nuisance issue. So for that, he has a redressal under the Criminal Procedure Code, as well as he can file a PIL, and he can get compensation for that as well, or even the district administration has the power to sort of remove those nuisances. So those are some of the legal avenues available to the public.
What about DMC? Any practical steps that citizens can take?
So ultimately,
It
we
will
are
require
going to be sued.
Yes.
Because if somebody files it there, ultimately it will come to us. It is our responsibility to redress all those things. Ma'am, see, DMC it is a local civic body. Comes in a local.
So DMC needs, in short, you're saying that DMC will need a political will to revamp it and
Of course.
organize it.
Yes. Not only from the political will, we need the support of the general public also.
Right. Mr. Amba, how do you make these two things work? I mean, the policy, framing the policy which is relevant and actually getting it implemented.
I think, see, the issue is, do we put the onus on the public, or should state agencies take the onus upon themselves? To begin with, the state agencies that are existing to perform duties for the public have to take the onus first. Why should the public always be repairing roads and bringing up issues to DMC or to whoever? Isn't it the responsibility of the DMC or whoever to notice these issues and redress them even before the public have the chance to come and talk to you about it? So to begin with, for example, how are agencies like municipalities using the laws to, look at parking issues, look at garbage dumping issues, look at the drainages, look at the way people are building. What is the municipality doing in terms of enforcing these laws? These laws exist to govern the city, but we don't see that being enforced. And the municipality, as you say, is the people. It's the people's representatives themselves. So again, we cannot keep saying the people have elected you to do a duty. So what is the municipality doing?
Yes, we have many governmental departments and dealing with the environment. We also have the ministry, the Department of Environment and Climate Change and Forest. We also have the Pollution Control Board. What exactly is the Pollution Control Board doing? Because as latest studies showed, Yatami, you were telling me earlier that the air quality is coming down.
Unfortunately, I cannot detail to you exactly what they're doing, but they do monitor, water purity levels, air quality, and they have shown that air quality in Dimapur is below safe standards. So there's a lot of particulate air which is causing a lot of health problems to people. So I think mostly to do with dust and pollution. So mainly vehicular pollution, because we don't have that much.
Right, Amba, how are the cities dealing with this issue? I mean, we never prioritize this as an environmental disaster really for our health.
Unfortunately, I think the State Pollution Control Board in the state is almost non-functional, almost defunct, if I may say so, because we have hardly seen reports that come from them in terms of the air quality, the water quality, in terms of...
Because I really believe that the newspapers in Nagaland will be very proactive if these kind of details are given out by all the respective departments, the air quality level, the water, the quality of water that is being,
Exactly.
distributed to households.
I mean, it's a fact that across India, 70% of underground water is polluted already. And given states like Nagaland, which has no sewage systems, car washes, garages, hospital waste, everything is going down to open drains and open streams. And at the end of the day, this is coming back into our homes as drinking water, as food, as so many other things. And I think it's high time that the Pollution Control Board really takes these things very seriously and look into how they need to really work on that.
So, is there a communication gap, Mr. Ganesh, between the municipal corporation and the media house? The media plays such a practical and important role in dissemination of this kind of public health information. There seems to be a terrible gap in this.
Government is framing the law. Municipal, as per our Act, Section 478, the regulation, we have to, prior approval of the government, we have to follow. Here we need the people's support, but people's support. If any regulation is, people, unless they follow, and whoever take over the charges of municipality, if he thinks that, okay, I am for few days only, whatever manner I get the salary and back, there is this, the officer should be right thinking officer in what manner I can do something, what contribution towards my city, what is my, why I am getting salary, what is my duty, say roads,
Right?
drains.
Yes, Mr. Ganesh, I think we are all aware of all the, the inadequate parts that have been played by so many departments and so many individuals. It comes back to how much we want to do, and we've just opened a Pandora's box right here. But hopefully, we, in this state, we talk so much about Article 371A, and really, ownership, also, responsibility comes with ownership. It goes together, it complements each other, and so hopefully we've started off a discourse here, which will be carried on, and this platform can be used to empower people to use knowledge here, the legal avenues also, as well as examples of citizens' activism from other parts of the country to initiate that level of participation in creating a safer and cleaner environment. Thank you.